I'm saying is there is no law deeming those that when you go into a grocery store, you should know as a consumer, this head of lettuce is a head of lettuce. The head of lettuce right next to it could contain a vaccine in it. All we're saying is if it does have the vaccine in it, make sure it's listed as a pharmaceutical so people can get the proper dosage.
All right, I just came in from collecting a couple chicken eggs, and as you can see, I grabbed a couple turkey eggs. And if you're new to keeping chickens, or you're gonna start maybe this year, one thing you're gonna need to know is they lay eggs everywhere except where you want them to. All right, so we're gonna get right into this video because I want you guys to have this on your radar. A lot of people aren't talking about this, and I'm not gonna let this die because I actually care. Because of the egg prices and the cost of food and everything, a lot of people are stepping up their game, and they wanna maybe grow a little bit more food in the garden, and they also wanna keep a few chickens in the backyard. A lot of people are going to the farm and home, and they're picking up chicks there a little too early in the year, I might add, because then they're going to be using heat lamps. We recommend you not using heat lamps. Just delay getting your chicks a few more weeks till it warms up a little bit. Heat lamps are one of the biggest causes of fire on the homestead. So a lot of people are going to the farm and home store and they're picking up their chicks and they aren't even aware of what's going on. A lot of the farm and home stores, they get chicks that are already vaccinated. Yeah, can you believe that? I don't understand what it is about this new mRNA that they want to have this thing in everything on the planet. I mean, I'm going to go through some other stuff about it, but it is very suspect to me. But I digress. So they're actually picking up some vaccinated chicks at the farm and home supplies. Not all of them, but some of them. But I want you guys to do your due diligence and make sure you're asking questions before you just buy the birds. Y'all are ordering right from the hatcheries. You guys are going to have to ask the questions at the hatcheries as well. If they're vaccinating birds without your consent, or if they are doing it upon request, and you want to make sure you're, just not getting any vaccinated birds, in one man's opinion. It's hard to believe we even have to talk about this in 2025, man. This is amazing to me. But I just want you guys to know about what's going on and actually how they do it. I often wondered to myself on all these little chicks that they send out all across America, right? In the mail, at the farm and home stores and everything. Like, how do they vaccinate these little chicks? And I was talking to one of my friends and he said, well, I think they probably use like an aerosol, like they put them in a room and then kind of like they do us in the skies above you. Don't look up. So being the curious me that I am, I got on the internet and I tried to find myself a little, video or a picture or some kind of information on how they actually do the procedure. And I'll be doggone if I didn't find this clip right here. That was very disturbing, okay? Very disturbing. Y'all, there's zero reason why you have to have that stuff in your baby chicks or even in your babies. I just wanted to put that on your radar real quick so you guys can make informed consent decisions while you're out there and not just, participating in a program that might not be conducive to your beliefs. So I saw that little chick video, very disturbing on how they do that. I also showed you guys how they're euthanizing a lot of these like turkey farms and chicken farms. That was very disturbing as well. And now I want to show you guys how they actually vaccinate the salmon.
Let's look at vaccinations. To start, most livestock in the UK are vaccinated. Fish are no exception to this, but they do present some unique challenges in doing so. These are Atlantic salmon smolts being vaccinated at their Scottish Inchmore facility, one of the country's most advanced freshwater facilities. They start with an anesthetizing bath to knock them out. No one wants fish flopping around for this sort of precision treatment. Once they're out, these juveniles head around to be orientated upright and forward. Yes, fish flippers are a real machine. Then every fish is imaged, and this massive automated vaccinator positions each fish in line with its injector. This will administer a cocktail of vital vaccines as quickly as possible. And between its 8 injectors, this machine can vaccinate up to 18,000 fish an hour. Now, vaccinated and still a bit groggy, these fish head back to the hatchery's tanks to recover and return to a normal feeding schedule. So broadly speaking, why are salmon farmers vaccinating their fish? Bacterial and viral diseases aren't typically an issue in the hatchery itself. It's a biosecure facility with little environmental interaction.
Hold on, before we go any further in this video, they took the salmon from a completely sterile environment, right? A completely sterile environment, and they introduce them into the wild where they're supposed to be, where there's all kinds of bacteria and good bacteria and all kinds of everything that their bodies need and want to have, that they are designed to have. And then their bodies freak out because they get put into that after they've been sterilized since birth. All right, but here, let's just keep on going.
Where fish will run into these pathogens is at sea. Salmon are transferred from these freshwater hatcheries to seawater pens once they reach a certain size, the same way they migrate in the wild. Ocean pens are obviously very exposed to the environment around them, which includes bacterial and viral pathogens. By vaccinating fish against over a dozen common salmon diseases, these farmers can maintain a significantly higher standard of welfare by reducing the impact of infections when they do inevitably occur. Vaccinations are also to thank for salmon farming's almost complete removal of necessary antibiotics. With their mass adoption, antibiotic use has all but disappeared relative to years past as more fish get vaccinated and those vaccines get better. Just one of the many protective measures undertaken here in Scottish salmon farming.
Found that very interesting. Okay, very, very interesting on how they're doing that with the salmon. And then how they actually claim that they're actually doing good because of the program, okay? Which is a total farce. It's a total farce. Now I want to share with you guys a story out of Tennessee that just happened a few months ago.
Can you give me an example of a food that's a vaccine?
You recognize?
Yes, sir. University of California, Riverside has already perfected the ability to put human vaccines into our lettuce right now. Also tomatoes has the ability to do that also for UC Berkeley. And then Big Tobacco, RJ Reynolds and stuff has perfected the ability to put a human vaccine into tobacco products.
Chairman Clements?
And is that even legal to do in the state of Tennessee, to sell those with a vaccine in them?
You recognize?
Well, I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is there is no law deeming those that when you go into a grocery store, you should know as a consumer, this head of lettuce is a head of lettuce. The head of lettuce right next to it could contain a vaccine in it. All we're saying is if it does have the vaccine in it, make sure it's listed as a pharmaceutical so people can get the proper dosage.
You recognize?
Thank you. Well, my question is right now, can you walk into a grocery store and there be a head of lettuce for sale that has a vaccine in it? I don't think that's allowed under state law presently. And if it is, and you have to list it as a pharmaceutical, are we going to then have Walgreens pharmacists with a refrigerated section? I mean, how's this going to play out?
You recognize?
Thank you. This is more of a consumer protection bill right here, is to make sure that if you're going in to buy tomatoes and there's a polio vaccine in there, that you are aware of what you're buying has a polio vaccine. The problem you have is if it's not treated as a pharmaceutical, being the size and difference between you and me, how many tomatoes do I have to eat to get the proper dosage versus how many tomatoes that you have to eat? And if you eat too many, do you get a overdose? If you eat too less, like we had in the cattle industry with aeromycin, we weren't dosing our cattle properly and the horn flies were developing an immunity to it. If we don't have the proper dosage of a vaccine, it could lead to the efficacy of that drug not work anymore.
A Tennessee state lawmaker said during a recent legislative session that various companies and medical entities are capable of injecting vaccines into lettuce, tomatoes, and tobacco. Sapickley said that the University of California, Riverside, why are these universities all involved with this stuff? I find that highly suspect as well. Perfected vaccinating lettuce, adding that the University of California, Berkeley has conducted similar tests on tomatoes and that the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company has mimicked that with tobacco products. And in case you guys didn't know, when they were closing down, Big Tobacco, all the Big Tobacco did was pivot to the food and started buying up all the food companies, and then they started slamming them with sugar and high fructose corn sugar and all these addictive chemicals in your food the same way they did with the nicotine in your cigarettes. He said such vaccinated plants should be listed as pharmaceuticals so people can get the proper dosage. Like, how does that even work? If they're going to put this in your chicks, which are going to lay you the eggs that you eat, and if they're going to put this in your lettuce and your tomatoes and your everything, like, how much of this mRNA can your body handle? They don't even know, because this is all gain of function that we learned about during COVID, right? This is all just too much, man. It's too much. In September 2021, UC Riverside published an article about school scientists studying whether they can turn edible plants like lettuce into mRNA vaccine factories in similar fashion to how COVID-19 vaccines employed messenger mRNA and RNA technology. They always use the word technology, okay, to battle disease, okay? And it didn't work. We all know the story. It didn't work, right? They lied and people died, okay? But I just want to bring this to your attention because a lot of people are out buying their spring chicks right now. I found that thing very disturbing, the video of how they actually administer the vaccines. And then the salmon thing was off the chain. And then now the lettuce, the tomato, like everything y'all are getting at the store is becoming compromised. And you wonder why we're so sick. Why is everybody so sick and overweight and lethargic? Right? And how come we keep letting all this stuff go on and on and on without any real resolution? Okay? Share this video with your friends because knowledge is power, and at least people will know to ask or inquire if the chicks are vaccinated. Because I wouldn't want any of those on my homestead, to be honest with you. Okay? That's just one man's opinion. But you guys got to do your own homework. Okay? Because there's no such thing as a good vaccine. There just isn't. It's all a scam. All right? So tomorrow I got a video coming up with how they're taking out your pensions. And it's a very eye-opening video. And then after that, I think we'll talk about the milk, right? And why they went with the pasteurized, homogenized, bastardized milk that's actually making you sick. Okay? And that's what we're going to focus on these next couple videos or stuff like that. Share this video with your friends. We'll see you guys on the next one. And pick up some chocolate tea.
Did you guys know that in the 16, 17, and 1800s, chocolate was consumed as a beverage? There was no such thing as a chocolate candy bar. Well, we're bringing chocolate tea back to the 21st century because it's loaded with antioxidants our body loves, and it's a great source of magnesium that's wonderful for bone and heart health. It's a great addition to your coffee machine or your French press, or just along with your favorite sweetener. You can find it on offgridwithdougandstacy.com, along with our brand new tea infuser, simple to use for easy steeping. Cheers!